right, like a financial planner, because I mean, a lot of being successful in that is knowing a lot of people with a lot of money. And even though I don't have a lot of money, working for executives for the last 10 years, I know a lot of people with a lot of money. And even if I don't necessarily convince them to bring me their millions, maybe their friends or their children or other, other coworkers that, just whatever.
Hmm.
People in corporate just if there's big money stacked up in their 401ks, and if you leave the company, that 401k is just kind of hanging out there, maybe doing good, maybe not. You don't really pay attention to it. But anyway, I thought it would be good, and if I built the business, it could be really nice. And they were doing this program where they were pulling kind of high level people out of corporate and allowing them, basically giving them, instead of like a $45,000 a year like base rate like they would do if you were straight out of college, they'd go up to like $100,000. And then to further kind of buffer you in, they would split up the book of business of someone who was retiring and give you like
Those
35, 40
leads or
million dollars. No, they would split up the book of business and just like give it to two or three people like me. So you wouldn't have to go all the way down to 45,000 to start. You could start at like 145 or something like that. They'd give you a
okay.
like $40 million book of business to kind of cut your teeth on and begin to manage it. And then you could supplement that by bringing in your own folks, and you had a year or something like that to bring in a bunch of money, and there was a very complicated percentage, but whatever. I felt like, okay, well, I can take this, whatever, 20, $30,000 a year pay cut, and in 3 or 4 years be making double or triple, and technically I would have my own business. So when I was about 35 days into the 45-day hiring process, and I told my boss, because I liked him, like, hey, I'm expecting to get this offer. It's really like we're just going through formalities right now. I'm probably going to get the offer in about a week or two, and I'm going to give you my 2 weeks at that point. And so he ran to his VP, and they offered me this humongous retention bonus that I could not ignore. Like, it was like 60%, 60% of my annual salary to stay an
Wow.
extra a year and a half. So I'm like, okay, I will. Then they laid me off anyway. They still had to give me the bonus, but they laid me off anyway. Yeah, I mean, just corporate is just the worst.
Oh, so
But
you got late. You did not get the bonus, or you did get the
I
bonus,
did get the bonus. Yeah, I sure did.
and then they
Yeah.
still laid you off. That's so
They
wild.
yeah, they laid me off in April. I got the first chunk of the bonus. The bonus was split up into two sections. You'd get the first 40% of it after 3 months, 3 months after this acquisition closed. That was what it was all about, this acquisition. They give me
Okay.
40% of it after 3 months after the acquisition closed, and the rest of it after 12 months after the acquisition closed. So they gave me 40% of it in February, laid me off in April, and then still had to give me the other 60% of it in December, like a few months ago,
Wow.
December. Idiots. Idiots. So I call it it wasn't a golden
Wow.
parachute, but it was a silver parachute. It was a sterling silver parachute, and it wasn't that bad, it was nice. I'm gonna get a humongous tax return this year because you know how they tax bonuses.
I don't,
But
but
oh,
still.
if you get a $10,000 bonus, they're taking $4,000 right off the top immediately, no
Okay.
questions asked. It doesn't matter if you make $10,000 a year. They tax bonuses on a completely different schedule. So,
Wow.
when you file your taxes, if you didn't make another $1 million that year or whatever, and you end up falling into a much lower tax bracket, like let's say they took 40% of that bonus, but I fell into a 15% tax bracket when I did my taxes, I would get the difference between that 15% and the 40% that they taxed me back on my tax return. So, and since I got laid off, I made a lot less money last year. So I know I'm gonna get it. I can't wait because I got lots of bills to pay off from being laid off. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all good. You know what? Them giving me that retention bonus made me feel so trapped. That's what made me start the dog daycare.
Okay.
Because in my mind, I was like, look, I know if I'll never, unless I do something in the background that starts to give me passive income, I'll never be able to escape corporate America. And right now we're at the point, the dog daycare, I only work there like 5 hours a week, and the rest of it is completely run by employees. We need about $22,000 a month in sales to break even. We're probably going to do that this month, finally, for the first time outside of Christmas.
Great.
We did that during Christmas. This will be like the first like non-holiday month that we cover all of our expenses with sales. So after this, right, next 2 or 3
Good
years,
for you.
hopefully, we're at about 1/3 capacity right now. So we have, hopefully lots of
Oh,
room to grow.
lots of room to grow. I didn't realize you had that big of a space or that much. I guess it's not just the size of the space, but how many days a week you're booked and stuff.
And the employees and the insurance and,
Mhm.
materials and tools. A jug of shampoo for dogs is like $40. And there's about 8 different types of shampoos we use. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Sometimes we have got plumbing problems because you can imagine there's a tremendous amount of hair going down the plumbing system. So there's constantly like there's probably at least a plumbing bill every other month or something like that. Yeah. So you
Isn't there a way to avoid that with having the plumber put in something that will, there's
there's a
gotta be a
there's a
better system
trap.
for that.
There's a trap and you clear the trap and you do the best you can, but I don't know, like it's pretty
There's
normal.
gotta be something because when especially for commercial, do you have anything to do with Ecolab? Do you ever have Ecolab products? I wonder if they do. I don't know, maybe they don't do for dogs, but
I
Ecolab is
probably just
big with
I
restaurants. But restaurants, you have a grease trap and you have to have that grease trap come and commercially be cleaned. There's probably a similar setup.
There probably is. Those grease
Yeah,
traps are I looked at a few buildings
that
for
had the
Logan's
gross
house
grease traps. Yeah.
that I would have to decommission the grease trap. Just decommissioning the grease trap is gonna be like 30 to $50,000. Like I didn't want any part of that. We just stopped looking at restaurants for spaces. It was gonna be tenable. I wanted to do
Oh,
the whole thing in under $100,000. So
yeah.
and we did. We did, but as you're pointing out, it wasn't built custom to a grooming operation. So that we do have some issues because it wasn't built to, whatever. It was kind of like we sort of customized it. We ripped out plumbing that had been bathrooms and retrofitted in three
Oh,
grooming tubs.
for your tubs, yeah.
Yeah, because we took 2 stores that were side by side. We only needed, once we merged the 2 spaces into one, we didn't need 4 bathrooms anymore. We only needed 2. So on the one side, we turned the 2 bathrooms and a janitor's closet into 3 different grooming bays. So
Oh,
we did,
okay. Okay.
yeah, so it was just a way to not have to run completely new plumbing because that would have been
Right.
cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes. But I didn't think about that. Well, and if you could ever get it to be a where you do those I don't know if you have high level ones that high levels, grooming where it's like, how they always have those things on Instagram where they're like the calves and everything else where they're doing this. Have you seen those? Any
I
of
don't
those where
know.
it's like, oh my God, they have it's not groomers, it's people that have Instagram accounts where it's like they're doing they're doing a whole grooming. It's a big thing on Instagram or on TikTok where they're like the calf or the cat or whatever, they're grooming their nails, they're giving them a shampoo, they're giving them a facial.
Oh
You
yeah,
ever
we
seen
do all
that?
that. Yeah, yeah, we do
Oh
all
yeah,
that.
but I
We
mean,
don't do
do you
cats. We don't do
videotape
cats.
that?
Yeah,
No, but do you videotape
I
that?
have been begging my groomers to do that. And they're like, I forgot. I don't think they
But
want to be
if
on
you could
TikTok.
set up a camera, I mean, watch some of those, and if you could set up a camera and have just one or two, you can. Oh my God, because you've
I've
got it.
already asked nicely. I've asked meanly. I've
No, no,
asked a
no. But I mean,
thousand
where
different.
you have a you have
Just
someone set up a
install one
camera
in the room.
so that it's ready to go. So all they have to do is turn it on, or you turn it on remotely and
Yeah.
say, just want to do one grooming, just for people to watch. That's
Yeah,
because
that's, maybe I'll do
my
that. Maybe
daughter
I'll
will
just have
not.
somebody install one.
I've said that with making shades, and she's like, I am not going to be watched making shades. I am not going to have it on there because you'd have to have their consent, but she won't do
Correct.
it. But if you
I
said,
believe
okay, for
that's
an extra
why.
20 bucks, for an extra 20 bucks to videotape you today or whatever,
We'll
you probably
see.
could get a lot of hits out of that. I don't know.
I
People love
couldn't agree
watching
more.
animals.
I thought of that a year ago. My groomer
Yeah,
just won't do it. So
yeah, yeah.
I
No,
know
my
they don't want
daughter
people
won't.
watching them. I don't have cameras in the rest of the operation either, which
Yeah,
is a little bit controversial. When we opened, though, one of the ladies that was working for us was a domestic violence survivor, and she simply would not work there if we had the cameras. A lot of dog daycares have live feeds, and you can just
right.